Hi, I'm Dr. Erika Bruner. One of the questions that I'm frequently asked, I think it's the question, is how do I know when it's time to euthanize my pet? And that is a question that there obviously is no simple answer for. It's something that we as pet owners spend a lot of time thinking about and, at the end of their lives. And it is different for each pet, for each person, each family, and there are no simple answers. I often hear that people have been told, well, you'll know when it's time. And sometimes you do. Sometimes there's some clear event that happens where things are obviously different from how they were before, and it's clear that the pet is suffering and it's time. But quite often it's not so obvious. Maybe something happens, but is it really that clear that your pet is suffering, or are they suffering enough? How much is enough? And sometimes a pet is just aging very gradually, and their life is getting kind of, smaller and smaller. The things that they can do less and less, and it is very hard, I think, in that situation to figure out when is the right time, because there's often a lot of ups and downs in how the pet is feeling. Some days are good days, some days not so good, or some parts of some days are good and some parts are not so good. And we're really stumped trying to figure out, is it enough quality of life? What is quality of life? And it's so hard, obviously, because we can't ask them what they want. And so this is just the nature of the situation, because we're humans and they're pets, and because we want them to be comfortable and we don't want them to suffer, we have to figure out kind of on our own, what they might be feeling. Are they happy enough? And sometimes we can tell and sometimes we can't. And these questions are often complicated by our own histories. So maybe we've had a family member that had a struggle with illness that was very uncomfortable for them, and we're really concerned that our pets not go through something like that. Or maybe another pet that we had. Sometimes we may feel like we waited too long in the past. Other times maybe we feel like we didn't wait long enough, and I think sometimes it's not uncommon to go back and forth between those feelings, especially right after euthanasia. Did I wait too long? Did I not wait long enough? Did I wait too long? There's no answer to that question. And, we're just humans. We're just trying to figure out the best we can. I think it's probably helpful to remember that what we're doing out of love. We don't know the answers. We don't have a crystal ball. We don't have godlike properties, even though it feels like it's sort of a godlike position in some ways, to be the decider of somebody's fate, to say now is the time for your life to end. And for some people that's reasonably comfortable. For other people it's very uncomfortable. And that's just something that's kind of baked into deep inside of us. It's not something that really is going to respond to logical arguments, and nor should it. This is part of the individual decision-making process. Sometimes people decide that euthanasia is not what they want at all, that they'd like to help their pet have a natural death that's peaceful and comfortable. That certainly can be challenging. It requires a lot of time and energy, and unlike in human hospice, there's not a whole lot of support for people who are trying to be the caregivers of a pet in really terminal end-of-life hospice. But there certainly are things you can do, or sometimes you'll have family members that can help. So that's something to consider as well. These are the reasons why people often want to have a consultation about end of life with me, because there's so many questions to balance, and it's really helpful to talk to someone who doesn't have an agenda. I think, depending on the veterinarian, some veterinarians feel very strongly about euthanasia should be the end of life for everybody, or at what time that should happen. And some people feel very strongly, some family members, and then there's other times folks who just don't really get it. Like I've been told many times that People at work don't understand what I'm going through, or they don't see why it's such a challenge for me, or how sad I am at the thought of losing my pet. So, to talk to someone who understands that you're sad is okay with you being sad, doesn't need to fix your sadness, understands medical issues that your pet is going through, and also understands the decision-making process, the sort of philosophical and moral things that go into that, and the challenges that you can have sometimes putting together the viewpoints of different family members, and doesn't have a judgment. I really, over the years have come to a place where I can see that these decisions are different for everyone, and that just because I'm the veterinarian does not mean I have the answers about when those things should happen. When those things should happen really depends much more on the factors particular to your situation. And so that's what a consultation is. It's to help you figure those out and to talk through your various options and how you feel about things. And sometimes that takes 10 or 15 minutes. Sometimes it takes an hour. Sometimes it's multiple conversations of several hours, wherever you are in that process. So if you're interested in a consultation, let me know. You can, if you're in central Vermont, you can have one done at home with me. If you're outside of my area, you can certainly have a consultation over the phone. It helps to know about your pet's medical history. I could read their records, but it's not required, because actually most of what the consultation is about is your feelings and your thoughts. So get in touch. It's 802-552-8224 or info@heartofvermontvet.com. And if you'd like to look at my website, it's heartofvermontvet.com. And if you have a question for this series of videos, please feel free to submit that. Thank you.